The chilling wind whistled across the icy tundra, clawing at any unsuspecting soul daring to cross its scarce surface. Professor Ida Saunders pulled her coat tighter to her person as she and her team worked their way onward. Out of the wilderness came the coarsest roar imaginable, a cross between the hiss of an alligator, the howl of a wolf, and the caterwaul of a large cat. No one spoke, as the wind continued to cycle around them. Without warning, a massive claw descended upon the nearest of the group, who let out the shrillest, blood-curdling scream before vanishing into the billowing white around them. "Run!" Ida cried, before launching into a full-on pelt through the snow, her team following suit, hoping to escape the creature. The snow softly crunched under Ida's feet as she continued on her path, glancing back every so often for her team, and barely noticing the sudden drop opening before her. By the time she noticed her predicament, the ground beneath gave way, and she felt herself falling through space. Her hand grappled onto a nearby ledge, barely large enough for her fingers. Ida's heart raced as her grip slowly failed and her body edged closer to its doom. By some miracle, a curly head and a strong hand reached over and pulled her to safety. Ida just managed to catch her breath before glancing at her rescuer in disbelief as he brushed fresh snow off his deep blue outfit. "You really must be careful in a place like this, you know. Anything could happen," the stranger stated, shaking his coat out. Ida, confused and relieved at the same time, could barely say anything, but managed to let out a small question. "Who are you?" The stranger tilted his head in her direction and smiled. "Ah, that is the universal question. I could be anyone, but most call me the Doctor." Doctor Who, Short Stories, Only the Cold. Ida's confusion grew as she took in every inch of the Doctor's attire, from his multi-shaded blue coat to his deep navy boots, which lay at the bottom of grey-blue pinstripe trousers, and even the cute cap brooch on his left coat lapel. "A doctor, you say? Of what?" she asked, eyebrows furrowing. The Doctor continued to smile. "Of pretty much anything, really. And who might you be?" Ida was shocked, as she had completely forgotten to introduce herself. "Professor Ida Saunders, Planetary Survey Division." The Doctor's smile faltered slightly. "Why are you here on Glacius, then?" Ida's eyes widened. "We were sent to survey this planet for colonization." The Doctor immediately rolled his eyes as he recalled the numerous times he had heard that stated. All of a sudden, the same roar from earlier rang out behind them. Ida's blood ran cold. Out of the whiteness came the form of a pale young man with a look of sheer terror as he approached the Doctor and Ida. "Professor!" he cried, as he half crumpled in the snow. Ida immediately rushed over to him and helped him to his feet. "Gareth, where is everyone else?" The young man straightened up. "I don't know, but..." He paused for a moment, trying not to let his emotions get the better of him. "I think they're dead," he finally spouted. Ida looked from Gareth to the Doctor, who looked as though someone had kicked a puppy, and back to Gareth. "What is that monster?" The Doctor's expression grew dark as he stepped forward to face Ida. "Monster? Monster? That creature is the native life form of this planet!" The fury began to build within the Doctor. Gareth lowered his eyes from his fiery gaze. "I think I lost it," he murmured. All around them the wind whistled, the snow billowed in their faces. The trio looked at each other and around the environment. It was too quiet. Suddenly there came a series of heavy crunches in the snow, beyond where Gareth had just come from moments earlier. The vast form of a creature emerged ahead of them, its snow-white fur billowing around it, and its pale blue eyes peering around the area. Its tree-trunk-sized legs and feet left deep impressions as it walked towards them, its pale yellow teeth gaping from its squared jaw. "Don't make any sudden moves!" the Doctor warned, holding up his hand to stop Ida and Gareth. The large creature grew closer and closer with each passing second. The creature's large snout wriggled as it sniffed the air surrounding the trio of bipeds before it, before backing away and slowly leaving the area. Ida sighed with relief, while Gareth collapsed from fear, the Doctor grabbing him as he went. Ida turned towards the Doctor with curiosity. "Why didn't it attack us?" The Doctor, while holding Gareth, reached into his pocket for a small bottle of smelling salts as he thought about his answer. "Probably because we didn't pose a threat to it. Take this and open it under his nose." Ida took the bottle and did as the Doctor stated. It didn't take long for Gareth to regain consciousness. "Is it gone?" he asked, as his eyes flicked open. The Doctor nodded gently. Ida handed the bottle back to the Doctor, who pocketed it once more. "That doesn't explain why it attacked our group, though." The Doctor's fury began to fuel again. "Your group most likely trespassed upon its hunting and nesting area. You humans think you can just land on any planet you see and instantly lay claim to it, even after a simple survey." Ida's face grew hot, whether from anger, embarrassment, or the cold. None of them really knew. The wind began to grow in intensity, and the snow billowed around them like millions of flies. A blizzard was forming. "We must get to shelter!" the Doctor yelled, as he and Ida and Gareth fought their way across the tundra, pulling their coats around tighter from the wind and snow. All they could hear, besides their feet crunching beneath them, was the sharp whistling of bristling wind. "There's a cave!" Gareth cried, pointing at the base of a sharp mountain, barely visible through the snow. Together, the group made their way to the cave, gripping their coats tightly until they were inside, where it was safe and warm from the bitterness outside. Ida broke out some chem lights and handed them around. All of a sudden, Gareth gasped as he picked out the large form of the creature from earlier, curled up in the darkness. He gently tapped the shoulders of the Doctor and Ida and indicated towards the creature. "This must be its home. I'm sure it won't mind us staying for a while if we keep quiet." Ida's eyes flared as the Doctor finished. Somehow, a rage she hadn't felt earlier began to creep into her consciousness as her memory washed over what that creature had done. The group settled down to sleep in the pale blue glow of the chem lights and the whistling of the storm outside. The following morning was a nightmare as the Doctor and Gareth awoke to the shrieking cries of anguish nearby. Ida was nowhere to be seen, and the creature was cradling the limp remains of its young. The Doctor flew into a rage and charged further into the cave with Gareth close behind. When they reached the nesting area, the pungent scent of death swirled all around, as the carcasses of more and more of the creature's litter lay all over. Gareth lurched at the stench, while the Doctor looked around for Ida, who was still nowhere to be found. "Can we get out of here?" Gareth asked, trying not to gag further. "Most definitely." Tears formed in Gareth's eyes as they made their way back to the entrance. The creature, despite having the ability to flatten them both, paid them no heed as they passed within its eye line. As they left the cave, the Doctor looked all around the environment and could see no indication of Ida having been there. Gareth wiped his now red eyes and stood beside the doctor in solemnness. "Did Isla really do that?" Gareth asked, his lip trembling. "It would appear so, Gareth. She was a lot colder than I would have thought." "But why?" The doctor looked at poor Gareth, struggling to keep composure. "Vengeance, possibly. You humans have quite a tenacity for violence if used in defense of others, whether they're dead or alive. Wherever she is now, I only hope she's content with her actions." Gareth nodded solemnly as he rested his head against the doctor's chest, and the doctor reached a comforting arm around his shoulders. "As for you, Gareth, I believe we should try and get you home, don't you?" Gareth wiped his eyes again and nodded, a small smile curling on his face. Ida looked at the edge of the precipice, recalling her actions back in the cave, how she had taken the lives of those poor defenseless cubs, and the fulsome cries of the creature that followed. She stared at the abyss below her, and recalled the doctor's bravery in saving her the first time, knowing he wouldn't be there this time.